Are you struggling to find property tax information for that new home in Iowa? Well, stay tuned, because today we are going to absolutely unlock the secrets to finding detailed property tax records quickly and easily. Welcome to this explainer. We're going to dive into the macro world of state revenues and then zoom all the way down into the actual technical database syntax of local property taxes. You know, it's incredibly important to understand these systems, whether you're a prospective home buyer, a real estate investor, or just a citizen wanting to know exactly how your local services get funded.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting 4 key areas. Number 1, state revenue ecosystems. Number 2, the mechanics of valuation. Number 3, decentralized tax administration. And finally, number 4, navigating property tax databases.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, State Revenue Ecosystems, taking a macro perspective.
To really wrap our heads around local property taxes, we first got to zoom out and look at the macro level. Take the Kansas Department of Revenue, for example. It operates as this massive, highly centralized organizational structure. You've got an office of the secretary sitting at the top, overseeing these unified divisions, things like taxation, property valuation, and vehicles. The whole shebang is designed to collect taxes efficiently across an entire state.
So where does the state's money actually come from? Well, looking at fiscal year 2019 data for Kansas, we see over $10.5 billion collected. That is a massive chunk of change. The state relies heavily on a centralized blend here. Individual income taxes make up 40.4%, and sales and use taxes come in at 43%. We're talking about massive, completely centralized revenue streams.
And all this centralized collection, it's methodically distributed. Nearly 70% fuels the state general fund, and about 10% is dedicated to highway funds. It's basically a system where money flows into one giant central hub and then gets dispersed outward. But, as we're about to see, property taxes, they work in the exact opposite direction.
Moving right along, let's hit Section 2, the mechanics of valuation, bridging state and local.
Okay, so in states like Iowa, property tax is a fascinating multi-tiered process. It actually doesn't start at the state capital at all. It starts right in your neighborhood. Step 1, local assessors estimate the value of each individual property. Then, Step 2, those aggregate totals, which are called abstracts, are compiled for each classification, like residential or commercial. And finally, Step 3, the State Department of Revenue steps in to examine and equalize these data sets just to ensure uniformity across the board. So it's very much a bottom-up process.
Now, if we look historically, assessed values for residential and commercial real estate have just been on this massive upward trajectory over the decades. I mean, they are skyrocketing. And as these property values climb, the critical foundation for local funding expands, which is great for the community, right? But the potential tax burden on homeowners climbs right alongside it.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is how the state actually manages all this growth. To prevent runaway taxes from these skyrocketing values, Iowa law mandates an annual rollback ratio, which is calculated by the Director of Revenue. This literally caps the residential property taxable value. For instance, the ratio is set to just 47.43% for 2026. What does that actually mean for you? Well, it means that even if your home's market value shoots up, you're only being taxed on a fraction of that total assessed value. It's a built-in safety net protecting citizens from massive sudden tax hikes. All right, that brings us to Section 3, Decentralized Tax Administration, the local reality.
Unlike that centralized state income tax we talked about earlier, property taxes are hyperlocal. They are literally the lifeblood of your immediate community. We're talking about funding for K-12 schools, cities, and county hospitals. In fact, those combined account for about 90% of the property tax asking statewide. So, when you pay your property tax, you are directly paying for the services just down the street from you.
And this local tax applies specifically to real property, meaning the land itself, the buildings, and the structures attached to it. But here is exactly where the challenge begins for anyone trying to look up this information online. The administration is deeply, deeply fragmented across Iowa's 99 independent county treasurers and assessors. There is no single master switchboard for the state.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, Navigating Property Tax Databases, a Technical Guide. Okay, so because there's no single master portal for property taxes in Iowa, you actually have to navigate 2 entirely distinct systems depending on your specific county. 9 large counties, like Polk, Lynn, and Johnson, they use the Iowa Tax and Tags Network, which features some pretty advanced tools like the Portfolio Tax Service for multi-county ACH payments. Meanwhile, the remaining 90 counties, they use the Iowa County Treasurers Association platform for standardized property tax searches. So, finding out which of these two websites your target county uses is your absolutely critical first step.
Now, here's a pro tip for when you actually go to search these decentralized databases. Be careful. If you type in an address exactly like you do on Google Maps, you will almost certainly get an error. To actually find your property, you have to use some strict syntax rules. You need to strip away street types, completely omit directions like north or south, and definitely drop any apartment numbers. So you wouldn't enter 1034 Brooks Street, you would simply enter 1034 Brooks. Seriously, mastering this exact specific syntax is the secret to unlocking these records quickly and easily.
But wait, there's more. You can also supplement your local research with some great state-level resources. Say you need recorded property transactions, like deeds or advanced title searches, rather than just the raw tax billing details. In that case, you'll need to pivot over to the Iowa Land Records portal. This is an awesome statewide database that actually aggregates real estate documents across all 99 counties, giving you the complete historical picture.
Navigating these systems, whether you're just checking your own biannual tax bill that's due in September and March, or you're analyzing data for a major investment, it's a crucial skill. Now, before we wrap things up today, I do need to give a quick reminder that this explainer is intended for informational purposes only. You should always consult legal or financial professionals for personalized advice, especially since local tax regulations and database structures can and do change. So as we close out today's explainer, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. In our modern era of high-speed digital finance, how does this fragmented county-by-county web of databases actually impact the accuracy of modern real estate forecasting?
Something to chew on.
Thanks so much for learning with us today.